All
Right, got it. Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to chat with you today. I feel like we know each other, but we've never actually met in person, so this is really fun.
I know, isn't that weird? Like, I feel like we have, but you're right, we totally have not.
I love it. And I love seeing people kind of pop on here from our past lives together in our Style for Hire days. And so, for anyone who's just popping on now and tuning in, so excited to chat with Lauren today. We are on opposite ends of the country. Lauren is in LA, and I'm here in New York. And we have been sort of linked together by this stylist community for the past couple of years. And I've been following Lauren's career so closely because she launched an amazing brand called School of Style, where stylists could actually learn the tricks of the trade and how to get into our industry. And since then, I know you've done dozens of other things. So tell me what you've been working on. What are you up to?
Yeah, so I've been working my little booty off during this quarantine, and mostly working to support my clients. So I support my clients all through online services. I ditched in-person styling services years and years ago. So I teach my clients how to dress themselves through courses, a monthly membership, books, videos, basically giving them the power to dress themselves, without me running to the mall, dressing them up and doing it for them. So it's been really fun. Also been writing a book. I have a book coming out next spring. So
Congratulations. That's major. That's so
yeah,
cool.
it's been a busy time, but really exciting.
Yeah, and it seems like you've kind of you were a step ahead of so many stylists with turning your service offering to something that can be shared digitally. Because I know that myself and some of our other stylist colleagues are in this weird pivoting moment right now of like, oh my gosh, we've only ever done the in-person styling experience. So now, how do we take the skills and the tools that we've developed over all this time and turn it into something that can be used online? So you've kind of spearheaded that whole thing. You were the first to really do it.
I know, and I'm like so grateful right now. I was like, wow, glad I did that a long time ago. But like with anything, when you're kind of the first to do something, there's definitely um, like a transition there where clients are like, no, stylists go and like buy me stuff and dress me up. Like, I don't want to do it myself. But now the world's changed and you kind of have to do it yourself right now. And, there's a ton of women who don't have access to the best stylists in the world based on where they live, based on their budgets. So it's been fun to experiment in this way.
Yeah. What originally inspired you to take your services and repackage them that way?
Well, when I was taking in-person clients, I was thinking of ways to market myself so I could get more in-person clients. So I started a YouTube channel and I was like, I'll just give general style advice. So people who are Googling, what should I wear to a wedding or what should I wear to a job interview would find me, discover that I'm a stylist, and then hopefully book me. But the thing about the internet is people come from all over. So I kept getting all of these inquiries like, oh my gosh, can you style me for XYZ? I live in Montana. I'm like, no, I live in LA. So unless you're gonna come to LA, no. And after getting so many of those and really growing my YouTube following, I thought, I wonder if there's something that I could sell online because I had systematized my styling process for in person. I'm like, maybe that would translate. So I just started selling ebooks and then I started selling more high touch virtual styling packages, but they were so much work. Like it actually was surprising to me because, you know, making a mood board, going to every online retailer, putting together outfits, and then having the person shop for them. By the time they shopped, the item would be sold out in their size, or it wouldn't look the same. And it just was more labor than actually going shopping. So I just kind of had to keep tweaking and repurposing my content until I found something that really hit. And that's when the whole course model came to be. But yeah, it was like demand was there from social, figuring out what my clients needed and then creating it.
I think that's amazing. I mean, we're all kind of in this position right now of like, what is it going to be going forward? And how can we take what we have to offer in a way to work with our clients and turn it into something else? And as you mentioned, I do think it's going to take a lot of trial and error before we find that right fit where maybe it's our old clients who can use that content, but maybe it's an entirely different group of clients who can benefit from it because it is different, right? It's a different way of doing things.
Yeah, and I was telling my students, I did like a little live Q&A with my School of Style students, and I'm like, guys, you have to get out of the copycat trap because it's easy to look at someone on the internet and be like, whoa, they're crushing it. You know, they've got style courses or a membership or a book. I should do a book. But it's all dependent on who your client is. Like, you know, for you, you have super high touch, high end clients in New York. They probably don't want to go through a course with videos of how to dress. They probably want you on Zoom doing fittings. They probably want you to order the stuff online and have it shipped to their house. Like, so you have to look at all these different factors before you just pull some sort of digital service out of a hat and be like, this will make me millions. Like, it took me so much trial and error to finally get the sweet spot that matches my ideal client.
Yeah, and that's such a good point too. It's like this is a time to stop and reflect on like what is the ideal client? And that goes for everyone from stylists to entrepreneurs to retailers. Like we all have to take this giant step back right now and say, okay, so who am I actually catering towards? Is that the client that I want in the future? And then what's kind of the new wave of finding the service offering for them? Because I think you hit the nail on the head. The future is digital. I mean,
Yep.
there's just no denying that, especially right now, you know, because we can't even be together in person. So
Nope.
it's all changing. So now that you are, you know, doing what you're doing, which I know you've been up to for a while, but how are you kind of staying motivated in this moment right now?
It's strange. I've been more motivated than ever to the point of like, I'm kind of tired. You know? Like, where's my quarantine, like Netflix binge and nap? But it's just like, for me, it's really been tapping into what people need. And if you lead with that, of like, how can you be useful and help people, then all these new ideas start coming up. Like, I have a monthly membership called Style Confidence Collective, and that's where women can go through like a mini style transformation, but it's mostly like a mind transformation. We have growth challenges, we have a book club, so you're styling the insides and the outsides. So once the pandemic hit, I'm like, what do people need? They need more community, they need more connection because they can't hang out with their friends. So I started doing these Zoom styling parties, and like those ideas keep me motivated to keep moving forward. When something works, I'm like, okay, how can it work better and with more? And I
Yes.
just, you know, making a list of things that can be useful uses of time. Like, wow, all the online courses that I wanted to take and didn't have time, all of the books that I wanted to read. And I just kind of like feed off of growth. So I think that's helped me stay motivated.
Yeah, and it's an interesting moment too in terms of style shifting. So a friend of mine this morning was just telling me that like she's not going to be back in the office until the fall. So that's a really long stretch of time to suddenly be working from home. And as we all know, like this is what you're seeing. Like you don't even have pants on, you can be in pajamas and slippers. So I'm curious to hear from you because you are working with so many people digitally. What do you think the future of style even looks like? Because I said to her, you're not going to go out and buy a blazer right now. Who's going to hang out in their house in a blazer? You know,
Right.
like what's the new way of dressing after this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be like kind of a new athleisure blend, but still with professionalism in
Mhm.
there. So I don't know if you watched that little like mini documentary on Netflix. I think it's called Explained, and it was about athleisure and like how that was born. And it all, you know, it started like way, way back,
Yeah.
and it just has all these different steps that transitioned into the more casual attire that we wear. So I think these triggers that are happening with the pandemic, with working from home, it's going to shift a more comfortable wardrobe. But at the same time, like, I feel like once everyone wakes up, which they are now, and realizing like this isn't just like a fun slumber party, like this is a new way of life, you still want to be on a Zoom and trust the person that you're spending money with, or trust a speaker that you're listening to for information. So you have to find a way to dress professionally and comfortably. So me, I've been rocking like boyfriend blazers. Still comfortable. Like, I'm not going to wear a tight ass blazer and be like, I'm all constricted to work. But something that reminds people and reminds yourself that you are here for business.
Yeah.
I did not allow myself to just wear sweats and BS this whole time because
I've been watching. You have been like putting it together every single day. And I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get dressed today. Lauren's dressed.
Because it does something to your brain, you know? Like, it really does. And that little funny meme that was going around of like, make sure you put your jeans on because sweats will have you thinking that all is well, you know, in the kingdom. Yeah. It's not well. It's things like that, that like, if you gain a little bit of weight, you know, and people are like, oh, you know, give yourself a break, which don't beat yourself up. But if this is the new normal, get up, girl. Yeah. Because, you know, feeling sluggish, feeling not dressed, it does something to your psyche, and it has a ripple effect that your business is going to suffer, your relationships are going to suffer, your self-esteem is going to suffer. So we have to find a hybrid of comfort, business, and just still being ourselves.
Totally. And it can only go on so long, right? Like now we're in what, week 6, 7 of what we're doing. So it's like, okay, we all felt really sorry for ourselves, maybe took advantage of being forced to stay home for a little while. But now it's like, okay, like this can't go on forever. We can't wear bathrobes forever. We can wear them sometimes, but it just
exactly
can't continue. It just can't. Same goes with like the wine drinking and the cake eating and all the bad habits that, you know, we fall back into and we're kind of given permission to slow down. But I agree. It's not really the time to slow down. We've got to keep it going.
Yeah, you have to wake up. I mean, the only thing that I kind of slipped on during the pandemic was like my workouts, because I'm used to working out with the trainer and going to yoga classes. So when I thought it would be a 2-week lockdown, I was like, give myself a little breaky break. And then 2 weeks turns into 3, and then 4. Yeah. And then the pants feel a little bit tighter, and you're like, all right, this is new normal. Group fitness will be like the last thing to freaking open back up.
Yeah, that's so true.
Get it together.
So true. And so what do you think in terms of now that some places in the country are opening up again and people are easing back out? Like, I keep wondering to myself, is it going to be, okay, now we can just wear leggings every single day of our lives and like that's acceptable because not everything is open. Do you think we're going to ever get back to like the level of put together that we were at before this, and how long?
I think eventually we will. You know, it's like nothing lasts forever. You know, like there's been pandemics in the past. There's been the plague and the Spanish flu. Like, they didn't all stay boarded up in their houses and wearing whatever the heck they were wearing. Like, we came back. It was interesting. Right before 2020, I went to this sound bath, like astrology, like woo-woo LA thing. And I remember the woman was saying like, 2020 is gonna suck. And she said it's going
Where is this woman? Where is she now?
Right. And I remember I took a friend of mine with me, and when I left, I was like, that was bullshit. I was like, what a negative Nelly. I'm like, 2020 is gonna be my year. But what she was saying was like, it's going to be this disruption. So old systems are forced to change, like government, I think our relationships with work, with working from home, with like everything, like anything old is being shaken up. So I don't think we'll always be in leggings, because you and I both know what that does to people, you know? So
long-term effects.
yeah, there is a long-term effect of a legging that nobody wants to be involved with. So, you know, I think already the shift is happening, you know, as we discussed, like we're getting tired of wearing our pajamas. We want something to remind us of us. So we're finding this middle ground. And then as we come back out, like if I'm going to the grocery store, which I haven't, I've had everything delivered, but I'm getting dressed, you know, and I've got a cute collection of masks that I'm wearing. Like when you're out, you want to show out. I
Yeah.
think I think the future of like heels is in trouble.
I do too. I actually, this is the longest I've gone without high heels on, or even just like the back-breaking haul of carrying like a purse full of stuff and garment bags and all of that. And I'm like, I wonder what that's doing for me physically right now.
Yeah, I think there'll be a new shift in like what is considered like a luxury piece and a status piece because, you know, shoes are not going to get play for a while, for sure. Because when you do go out, it's going to be for short durations of time. I do think there'll be another wave of the virus and we'll probably be locked back in our houses. So like luxury handbags, luxury shoes, I just don't think people are going to mess with those. And like the Real, they were sending out, you know, what they need to have consigned because they're selling out. It's high-end sneakers. It's like more comfortable things, you know, cute sweats and tracksuits. So I think we'll still have the like dressed up version of that.
Yeah.
And then eventually we'll start easing in. I mean, girl, it's like it got hot in LA and I'm like, I want some cute summer dresses. I want something that I can throw on that I can breathe in, but still says style, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like we're going more towards effortless look dressing than dressing with like maximum effort and things that make us uncomfortable. Like it's not worth it. It's not worth being uncomfortable right now.
Yeah,
Sometimes
but I
right now it's not.
and I think people are still shopping. Like I've been shopping. I'm bored. You know, like I'm working hard, but in like my, you know, time off, I'm like, I feel like shopping. I want like the thrill of getting a package and, you know, feeling good.
Totally. And on that note, you know, the trend cycles are an interesting thing to look at right now because, like, no one is really experiencing the seasonal trends in the way that we usually do. Like, we're not walking down the street and seeing five girls wearing the same puff sleeve blouse or whatever it is that's in at the moment. So, what do you think in terms of the trend cycle? Like, are our 2020 spring summer trends going to stick around through 2021 because it'll take that long for people to jump on board and then actually show that they've participated?
Yeah, I'm really curious of how all of that shakes out because, I mean, designers are not going to be able to create new collections like they used to. And
No.
there's all this like dead stock that's hanging around that they're going to have to figure out how to sell. I think about all the boarded up stores with clothes collecting dust. So I think we're going to have to extend the trend cycle. And I'm just not a trend person anyways. And I always encourage my clients to just dress authentically because then nothing goes out of style. So I'm hoping that it's a shift to more like, this is what I actually like, you know, more authenticity with style. That would be my dream. But I feel like with social media and Pinterest and things like that, anyhow, that some people don't really pay attention to trends as hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
It's true.
people are pinning things that were pinned 7 years ago and they're like, that look is hot. And technically it's out, but like, I don't know, who cares? So I think it's going to be the job of the retailers to like really dictate like what is going to happen next with all of that. And I'm curious to see because retail is struggling big time, especially brick and mortar.
Well, that was my next question for you. So, you know, it just occurred to me the other day that, like, let's say we get the stores open in New York in the next couple of months, but who's going to go into a store, touch hangers that everyone's been touching, drape it over their arm, go to a fitting room where someone was else, you know, just in there breathing with no ventilation, and then drag a shirt over their face? Like, who
Right.
is ever going to do that until there's a vaccine for this? So I keep wondering, like, will it look like an art gallery where you walk in and it's like there's three pieces and you choose what you like and they drop ship it, you know, sealed in plastic? Like, what do you think is going to happen to retail if you had to guess?
It's,
Nobody
it's
knows.
well, it's been funny because I have been trying to like get in the faces of retailers for a while now. I taught a workshop to the stylists at Bloomingdale's, like the sales associates at Bloomingdale's, of how to bring like a more personalized approach to shopping. And I've been like hitting up all these, I'm like, you guys, you're gonna die. Like, you need to infuse what we're doing as personal stylists into your experience. But retailers are just so freaking old school and they don't believe it. And now they have to wake up. So I've always felt that unless you can blow someone's mind with a retail experience, they're just going to shop online. I mean, most people are using stores as a showroom experience anyhow. Like before Barney's was gone, I would roll into Barney's and I would look at stuff and then I'd go order it on Net-a-Porter because I just love that experience so much better, you know? Right. So I think they're going to have to hire people that are more professional and like in tune with style, really hand curating wardrobes for people. And yes, like having them shipped. Online retailers are going to have to be more generous with like, try this stuff on, have your stylist, you know, help you make sure that it looks good. They're going to sell more. I mean, hello, we know how much our clients spend when we shop for them. They're like, cool, I'm buying an entire wardrobe. Here's $25,000 worth of clothes I just bought, versus walking into Bloomingdale's and being like, oh, I'll take this one shirt for $200. So I think they're going to be forced to change their model to something more personal, appointment only, showroom style. Nobody wants a mill around a store. They're dead anyways. Like, I hate going to the mall. It's depressing.
I know they're dead anyways, and this is going to really weed out. You know, I've read a lot about like the mall world and the big brand world, and as I'm sure you have too. And so many of them were maybe 4 or 5 years away from having to close their doors anyway. And this has kind of sped up the process, which, you know, on one hand is really sad, of course, for everyone who's working there and for all the designers who have waited their whole lives for that kind of brand exposure. But at the same time, what's left will have to be a lot of innovation, and it'll be a much more curated experience. Hopefully the quality will get better again and we won't be buying so much fast fashion crap, you know, filling in wardrobes so quickly that way. So it will be all very interesting to see, you know, what survives this. And I saw a question actually came in that we should talk about Fashion Week and sort of the future of designers showing. So I think that will also move digitally too. There's no reason anymore to have this big studio audience, you know, of bloggers, basically. It's not even anymore.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And like, again, back to my crazy like astrology sound bath, but it's like really upending old systems. Like the last Fashion Week that I attended was years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And I said, this is my last Fashion Week. I'm not going back because it just felt so crusty. My first Fashion Week was so magical. And I was like, oh my, like I felt honored to be in the standing row in the back and seeing like editors and people taking notes and like doing their job. And then from the last one I went to, I'm like, this feels like high school. It's a popularity contest with all the bloggers in the front who aren't buying for retailers. They're not styling people. It's just a popularity contest. And I'm like, this is stupid. Like, you can stream Fashion Week online. So literally the only point of going is for your ego.
Right.
And it's just silly. So I'm like, cool, like good riddance, like goodbye. I mean, there is a beautiful art piece to some fashion, like especially couture. It's like a museum, you know, and really only the elite can attend those types of things. But yeah, I'm like, change it all.
It's so true. It's time for it to change. I mean, I'll mourn the loss of, you know, what it used to be. I used to go to Bryant Park. I mean, this is like 20 years ago, you know, and it was
so exciting.
It was magic. And, you know, look, there's a place, I wouldn't knock the blogging world because there's a reason and a place for bloggers to also do their work, but it has become muddied with that, you know, versus editor versus socialite versus stylist and buyer. It's like this community has gotten really, really jumbled, and I don't think anyone really knows who should be where anymore. So it's like, maybe we just need a break.
Exactly. Because I mean, obviously, yes, there's value in a blogger and they push a lot of merchandise, but they don't need to be a fashion week. You know?
Right.
And like, no one understands like behind the curtain of like that outfit that you see, you know, on street style blogs. You're like, oh my God, I have to have that. The brand paid them to wear that. Like everything just got so commercialized that it ruined things. So yeah, like we need a shake up. I think all of this is really going to help retailers, brands, designers, events analyze like what's important and what's not. Because we all need that, you know, as business owners, when things are all sunny and wonderful, you don't even notice shit. And then when it's chaos, you're like, wait, why am I spending so much money to have these cute Instagram graphics that really don't help the bottom line? Or why am I paying for this subscription when it's really not doing anything? So it's a good reevaluation.
It's true. I mean, this is all a giant pause and reevaluate and revamp, I think is the key word. So I know that you mentor tons of budding stylists and you've also trained so many stylists. So for anyone coming forward right now and saying that they want to get into the industry, because it's not the same industry it was, right? Like there's no career path that's a direct line from point A to styling business. Like we've all had to like push and shove and carve out like our own route towards whatever our success looks like. So my question for you is, for someone who's just jumping into this now in this climate, what would you even say to them?
Yeah, I was live in my group with my students last week and gave them a little pep talk. It was like, listen, I know it's probably scary, but like more people have been signing up for our classes, which was surprising to me because I'm like, do they know that everything's shut down? But it's the perfect time to learn your craft, to think about what you want your business to look like, because things are coming back. We don't know what it will look like, but you need to be prepared because there's so many stylists and just people in all industries that are using this as an excuse to stop and not figure it out because they want to blame something. Oh, well, COVID hit, so now I can't be a stylist, or now I have to do this, or I have to go back to my job. Be the bold one that's like, dude, I'm going to be waiting here in the cut to take your job because it's coming back. I'm going to be the one who's researching industry trends, who's listening to conversations like this to be like, retail is dying. How could I, as a stylist, be their saving grace? Like, what could I come up with? So learn everything you can. Do all the stuff that you didn't have time for, because your time will come. Mm-hmm. It will. I mean, movies are all on pause right now, but they're coming back. Like, are we just never going to have movies ever again? No. Like, we're going to have movies again. We're going to have premieres. We're going to have award shows. We're going to have ad campaigns. But how can we do it different, and how can we be ready for that? So just educate yourself like crazy and just be ready to strike is what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice too. And even just hearing about the new trends, like I've seen for this moment that there's a lot of photo shoots taking place over iPhone
Yep.
photo shoots, and brands are like sending out the clothing, and hair and makeup artists are giving the model the tutorial beforehand. But there's still someone making the aesthetic decisions. There's still someone behind the scenes choosing the clothing, maybe touching base and saying, no, front tuck that or cinch that here, and you need tape right there. I mean, this is still happening. So it's like, I think it makes sense to learn what will it look like, what it looked like before, and what will it look like later.
Totally. Right? I mean, I was looking, like I was shopping on Shopbop, and you forget how much you rely on seeing the garment on a model. Yeah. So now you're just like scrolling through flat lays of like a pair of shorts, and you're like, I don't want those shorts. But you can think as a stylist, like, well, I remember, 5 years ago when flat lays were like the jam on Instagram. Like, maybe I could be pitching that to brands, and I could be styling things like not on a model, or maybe now retailers are going to have more detailed fit tips. And those are things that you just have to have an open entrepreneurial mind. Because I think people forget, you know, as stylists, as artists, we are also entrepreneurs. No one gives us a paycheck every 2 weeks. And part of being an entrepreneur is having a mind that is always in solution mode. That's like, okay, this didn't work. What will? Always being 2 steps ahead. That's what makes us entrepreneurs.
Totally. And you can't really do one without the other unless you get a job in-house somewhere. And that's
Yeah.
something I talk to, you know, budding stylists about all the time is you have to think with two heads. You have to think with your stylist head and then your business owner head, because it doesn't function. One doesn't function without the other. You know,
Really.
there's a lot to do, a lot of creativity that has to be involved in it. But that's what makes it so exciting. And, you know, the future hopefully will be very bright for all of us.
And I'm sure it will, you know, I'm sure it will. Everything bounces back. We've had plenty of crises, even in this lifetime, where things were really bleak. And guess what? They bounce back.
Yeah, they do. So, on that note, what are things that you are dying to do once this is all over? Because I know you've kind of like got it together. You're in your great house, you're doing your digital styling, but there has to be something that you want to do when you're unleashed.
Right. I mean, the thing that I miss the most, honestly, is like my freaking yoga class. Like, I just really miss my yoga class. And, you know, like I'm part of an entrepreneur group and we, you know, have events and meetups and things like that. And I do miss that. Like, I miss being like, oh, I have somewhere to go today to like put on clothes that are a little more special than my at home clothes. And I had a lot of trips planned this year. So I was supposed to be in South Africa last week. So I just kind of sat here and was like, I should be on a friggin' safari right now, but I'm not. So travel, yoga, and sushi. I'm like
Sushi.
I'm probably the only person, well, not the only, but I'm still creeped out by like ordering takeout. And like, I don't trust your corona breath like breathing on my food unless I could potentially cook it off. But sushi, I can't like pop that in the oven for 10 minutes to kill germs. So
No.
like, once this is over, I want my sushi.
You're like sitting with a sushi boat in some like really fabulous outfit.
Yeah. I have like a ball gown and just
Planning trips.
yeah.
And so, what can we all expect to see coming from you next? I know you've always got a million things in the works. So, your book comes out next year.
Yes, my book is called Style Therapy. It comes out spring 2021. So stay tuned. I know you've got about a year to wait, but it's so good once it comes out. So, my book coming out. And right now, my big push is just making my membership, Style Confidence Collective, just like the most badass place to be for women to dress better and just excel in their lives. It's a total level up. So just been jamming on the collective and getting excited for my book next year.
That's amazing. Is it a how-to book?
It's basically a 30-day transformation for like your insides and the outside. So I combine, you know, personal development with personal style. So it'll take you through transformation. It's reading, it's fill in the blanks. It's wonderful.
So cool. Well, I can't wait. And you know, time is flying. So I know that might feel like a long time away, but it'll be here before we all know it. And hopefully
Yeah,
we'll get on the beach next summer.
I know. It's funny. It was supposed to come out this year. And then, you know, the date got pushed. And at first I was like, oh, that's sad. And now I'm like, you know what? The universe has a funny way of working things out because if it came out this year with this pandemic, it would have sucked. So yay for timing miracles. But yeah, next year will be here before you know it because 2020 is just kind of like canceled. This year doesn't count.
First half, and we'll see about the second half.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I'm so happy that you took the time to chat with me. I know that anyone tuning in definitely got a lot from this conversation because you are a wealth of knowledge. So thank you for doing this. And obviously you can find her at Lauren Messiah on Instagram and online too. And hopefully we'll see each other in person one day. Maybe go shopping.
I would love that. Thank you for having me.
I would love it too. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.